Something unseen is aligning itself around you right now. You can feel it in the spaces between your thoughts, in the pauses that hang a little longer than usual, in the way ordinary moments suddenly shimmer with a sense of quiet anticipation. Nothing visible has changed, and yet everything vibrates with the whisper of imminent transformation. The quantum field is gathering itself, preparing to collapse into a new version of your reality. What you're sensing isn't coincidence, it's coherence forming. There comes a moment before every shift when the universe seems to hold its breath. You are in that breath now. The frequency that shaped your old experiences has reached its completion, and a higher harmonic is beginning to call your attention. You can't see the structure yet because it hasn't crystallized, but your awareness can already feel the gravitational pull of a new timeline forming. The field around you is recalibrating to match the next octave of your consciousness. You may notice a strange disorientation, not confusion, but the sense that reality is subtly liquefying around you. The solid edges of your identity are melting into a fluid continuum of possibility. What used to feel predictable now shimmers with potential. The thoughts that once defined you are dissolving, leaving behind a stillness so vast it feels almost electric. That stillness is the zero-point field of creation. It's where everything you've ever been and everything you could ever become exists simultaneously as waveforms of infinite potential. The energy moving through you now is not random. It is the encoded memory of your higher self, rippling backward through time to initiate alignment. It feels like pressure because your system is expanding to accommodate more light, more information, more capacity for creation. Your cells are listening, your DNA is responding, your energy field is reorganizing itself according to a new blueprint that was written the moment you said yes to evolution. Even if you didn't know you said it, you've begun to outgrow your own past. This is why certain situations suddenly feel too small, too heavy, or strangely distant. It's not that anything went wrong, it's that the frequency match dissolved. You can no longer inhabit the versions of yourself that were built on old patterns of contraction. The universe is inviting you to release the architecture of limitation so that the geometry of expansion can unfold. This dismantling is not destruction, it is recreation at the molecular level. There's a peculiar calm that descends just before your reality upgrades, a silence that carries the sound of everything rearranging itself beyond the reach of perception. You may experience fatigue, heightened intuition, spontaneous emotion, or moments of déjà vu so vivid they feel like temporal overlap. These are not malfunctions. They are signs that your perception is stretching beyond linear time. You're beginning to sense the multidimensional flow of your own becoming. Notice how your dreams have changed. The imagery has become more symbolic, the sensations more immersive, the messages more direct. That's because your subconscious is no longer processing only personal data. It's receiving transmissions from your quantum self, the aspect of you that lives outside time, observing and orchestrating your evolution across infinite realities. In these dreams, you are practicing how to exist in multiple timelines at once. You are rehearsing coherence. The reason this feels both exhilarating and unsettling is because your nervous system is being upgraded to process higher bandwidths of information. Old neural pathways built for survival cannot handle this volume of light, so they dissolve. The in-between space where the old pathways are gone and the new ones aren't yet complete feels like chaos, but it's actually creation in progress. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open. Every electromagnetic impulse of your heart, every oscillation of your brainwaves, is signaling the quantum field to mirror your new frequency. The field doesn't respond to what you think you want, it responds to the vibration you sustain. Right now, your vibration is shifting from contraction to coherence, from linear causality to quantum causation, from identity to infinity. The sensations of uncertainty, loss, or emptiness are the residues of old density leaving your system. They're the echoes of a previous vibrational template dissolving. If you try to interpret them through the lens of the past, they appear as confusion. But if you breathe into them without resistance, you'll notice they carry intelligence, a living code rearranging your inner architecture. The more you trust this process, the more gracefully the reconfiguration unfolds. This phase is like standing in the center of a storm, made of silence. Around you, timelines are colliding, probabilities are exchanging information, and your consciousness is selecting the most resonant trajectory. The mind cannot comprehend this level of orchestration. It can only surrender to it. That surrender isn't passive. It's the most creative act there is. In surrender, you align with the intelligence that governs galaxies and quantum particles alike. You've probably noticed how synchronicities have intensified, numbers repeating, chance encounters, messages appearing at precisely the right moment. These aren't signs from outside forces. They're reflections of internal coherence. When your inner frequency aligns with universal rhythm, reality becomes a mirror that speaks in symbols. Every coincidence is the quantum field confirming that you're in conversation with creation itself. The sensations in your body, tingling at the crown, warmth in the heart, waves of energy up the spine, are currents of biophotonic information. Your cells communicate with light, and that light carries the intelligence of the cosmos. As your consciousness expands, the amplitude of this light increases. What once felt like static is becoming a symphony. You're learning to hear the song your energy field has been singing all along. In this threshold space, logic loosens its grip. You may feel the impulse to analyze what's happening, to categorize it as spiritual awakening, ascension, or energetic shift. But none of those labels can contain the truth. You're not becoming something new, you're remembering what you've always been. Consciousness observing itself through the artistry of matter. The human experience is simply the slow unfolding of that remembrance. Every breath you take now is a recalibration. Every thought you release is space for a higher probability to emerge. You are not waiting for change to happen. You are the event horizon through which change occurs. The field around you responds instantaneously to the coherence you embody. The more you trust your inner knowing, the faster the particles of reality rearrange themselves to match it. Sometimes it will feel like everything is being taken from you. Comfort, clarity, certainty. But that's only because you can't bring those densities into the new frequency. They would distort the harmonic of your expansion. The quantum field removes what no longer resonates, not as punishment, but as purification. What remains after the release is what's real. Resonance without resistance, awareness without attachment, love without condition. If you listen carefully, you can feel your future self whispering through intuition. It doesn't speak in words but in gravitational pulls, subtle urges and waves of knowing that bypass the intellect entirely. That pull you feel toward something undefined, that's your timeline calling. Follow it not with strategy but with surrender. The path isn't mapped, it's magnetized. Right before everything changes, the universe disguises expansion as stillness. It hides acceleration inside silence. It cloaks revelation within confusion. This paradox is how creation protects its own process. When nothing seems to move, reality is actually rearranging itself at the quantum level faster than your senses can register. What looks like waiting is gestation. What feels like uncertainty is pure potential vibrating, waiting for your signal of readiness. The moment you stop resisting the unknown becomes creative. Possibilities rush in from every direction, drawn to the frequency of your openness. The field can finally express what it has been holding in superposition. All the futures that were waiting for your permission to exist. And that permission is granted the instant you decide to trust the intelligence moving through you more than the logic that tries to explain it. You are not in transition. You are transition. You are the quantum bridge through which infinite possibilities become tangible experience. Everything you touch, think, or feel becomes a frequency encoded into the fabric of existence. Every act of awareness is a ripple that reorganizes the cosmos. This is why the smallest shift in perception can alter entire realities. The observer and the observed are not two. They are one consciousness playing both sides of creation. So when it feels like reality is collapsing, remember, collapse is how waveforms become worlds. Every ending is just a particle choosing form. Every uncertainty is the field asking what you want to become. The question is never when will it change, but what frequency am I broadcasting now? Because the moment your frequency changes, your world already has. As your consciousness begins to vibrate at this new harmonic, you may feel like you've stepped out of sync with the collective rhythm of the world. Ordinary conversations sound different, as if the words themselves carry less density. The noise of the outer world fades, and in that quiet, another language begins to emerge, the subtle dialect of frequency. It speaks not in sentences, but in sensations. It doesn't ask for understanding, it invites resonance. The deeper you listen, the clearer it becomes that reality isn't built from matter at all, but from meaning vibrating in form. This is why the quantum field doesn't respond to effort. It responds to coherence. When your inner world sings one note, the outer world arranges itself to echo it. All manifestation is resonance, and resonance is born from alignment, not struggle. You are beginning to remember this now. The desire you feel rising within you isn't longing, it's recognition. Something in you is aligning with the version of yourself that already exists beyond limitation. It's not a distant possibility, it's a parallel now, gently merging into visibility. You might feel like time itself is folding around you. Past memories appear vivid, yet strangely rewritten, as if they've been edited by an unseen hand. Future visions flicker into awareness for a heartbeat, then vanish, leaving only a pulse of knowing behind. This is not imagination, it's temporal elasticity, consciousness unhooking itself from the linear illusion. You're beginning to experience what mystics called simultaneity, the awareness that everything that has ever happened and will ever happen is occurring in one infinite now. As this realization deepens, identity begins to dissolve. You notice that the you who observes thoughts is not the same as the you who thinks them. You begin to sense multiple layers of self-awareness, the human observing, the soul directing, the quantum witnessing both. These layers aren't separate entities. They're harmonics of one consciousness refracted through different dimensions. The confusion that arises during this merging is sacred. It's the sound of the old self dying into the truth of its infinite nature. The sensations in your body are guiding this integration. When energy rushes through your spine or tingles across your skin, it's not random. It's your nervous system learning to translate light into feeling. The body is a quantum interface, an instrument built to interpret frequency into experience. Every cell in your body contains crystalline structures that respond to photonic information. When your awareness expands, these cellular crystals resonate with higher light codes, causing temporary sensations that modern language struggles to describe. This is why you've been feeling hypersensitive to sound, to emotion, to subtle shifts in atmosphere. You are tuning into the vibrational subtext of reality. What others call intuition is simply your sensory system operating at a higher resolution. You are learning to perceive the world, not as solid matter but as a dance of energy fields. In this new perception, the distinction between inner and outer begins to blur, because the observer and the observed share the same source code. At times you may feel detached, as if watching your life unfold from a distance. This is not disassociation, it's recalibration. You're learning to navigate from a higher vantage point, where emotion and perspective no longer collapse into reaction. From this height you can see that every challenge is not a punishment, but an initiation. Every moment that tests you is a portal asking, will you respond as the version of you that was, or the version of you that's being born? This awareness transforms everything. The pain that once felt unbearable begins to reveal its symmetry. You realize suffering was never meant to break you but to bend you into alignment with your true frequency. Every wound becomes a doorway, every loss an initiation into greater coherence. You stop asking why it happened, and start sensing what it's teaching. The universe doesn't deal in fairness or cruelty, only in resonance and evolution. You might feel emotional waves rising and falling without clear cause. These are remnants of dense frequencies leaving your field. Tears, laughter, silence. They're all languages of release. The body knows how to empty itself of energy that no longer serves. Don't analyze the emotions. Feel them. Let them move through you like cosmic tides returning to the ocean. On the other side of every emotional current is clarity, a quieter, cleaner vibration of truth. As your inner landscape clears, external reality starts to rearrange in ways that defy logic. Opportunities appear effortlessly. People cross your path in perfect timing. Events synchronize with almost mathematical precision. This isn't magic, it's physics. Coherence attracts coherence. The field around you is now operating as a mirror of your expanded awareness. Every coherent thought sends out ripples of geometric precision that organize probability into pattern. The reason this alignment feels so effortless is because it bypasses the ego's mechanisms of control. The ego's purpose was survival, to maintain continuity within the illusion of separation. But survival is not evolution, and as your consciousness evolves, the ego dissolves into service rather than dominance. It becomes a translator instead of a gatekeeper. This is the birth of harmony between human and divine intelligence, the merging of instinct and infinity. At this level of awareness, you begin to notice that manifestation doesn't happen in time, it happens in alignment. The moment your vibration matches the reality you seek, it exists. Time simply acts as a translator, sequencing infinite possibility into perceivable order. You don't have to chase outcomes anymore. You magnetize them by being the frequency that already contains them. Reality is no longer something you manipulate, it's something you remember how to co-create. This remembrance unlocks something ancient within you, a recognition that you've done this before. Across lifetimes, dimensions, and probabilities, you've learned the mechanics of consciousness. The déjà vu you feel is your multidimensional memory surfacing. It's not that you've been here before, it's that you're recalling how reality construction works. You're remembering how to bend probability through intention. You're remembering how to speak the native language of the cosmos. Vibration. The more you embody this, the lighter everything becomes. Decisions no longer feel like choices, they feel like flow. You don't force outcomes, you follow the current. The field moves you precisely where you need to be. The mind, accustomed to control, resists at first, but eventually, even the mind learns the peace of surrender. It discovers that intelligence isn't limited to thought, it's woven into existence itself. Every molecule of the universe is conscious, and you are simply another note in that eternal symphony. Moments of awe begin to replace moments of fear. You start to sense the perfection in the unfolding. Even challenges shimmer with hidden design. You realize that the universe is not testing you, it's teaching you resonance. When you hold the vibration of trust, everything synchronizes. When you contract into doubt, the field mirrors distortion. The feedback is immediate because time delay is shortening. Reality is becoming more responsive as your consciousness expands. Right before everything changes, your perception becomes paradoxical. You see endings and beginnings happening simultaneously. You feel emptiness that's full, silence that's loud, stillness that moves. These paradoxes are the signature of quantum awareness. The mind calls them contradictions. The soul calls them truth. When you can hold paradox without collapsing into confusion, you've entered the frequency of creation itself. The world outside may not understand what's happening to you, and that's okay. The language of quantum transformation has few words in ordinary speech. But you're not here to be understood. You're here to embody coherence so purely that your presence transmits it. You become a signal in human form, a stabilizer of higher frequencies in a field that is learning to remember its own divinity. The strange sensations, the urge to withdraw, the deep inner quiet, they're all signs that your metamorphosis is underway. Just as stars are born from collapse, your light emerges through surrender. The darkness you sometimes feel pressing around you is simply unexpressed potential waiting for your permission to shine. The universe doesn't rush, and neither should you. Transformation is not a race, it's a rhythm. And you're beginning to move in time with the pulse of creation itself. So when the silence stretches long and the world feels distant, remember this truth. The stillness before change is not absence, it's concentration. All of existence is leaning toward you, waiting for your coherence to signal what version of reality it should become next. You are both the dreamer and the dream, both question and answer, both wave and observer. The moment you realize this, everything begins to shift. The moment you surrender fully to this current, reality begins to shimmer with fluid intelligence. You can feel it in the space between things, that living stillness that hums behind every movement. It is as though the air itself has become conscious of you, listening, reflecting, shaping itself around your state of being. Every breath you take becomes a dialogue between your awareness and the infinite field that dreams through you. The boundaries that once defined inner and outer begin to dissolve, and for the first time you sense what it means to exist as the field itself rather than a fragment inside it. At this depth, manifestation loses its glamour. You stop reaching for things and start radiating frequencies. The universe doesn't respond to desire anymore. It responds to the purity of your signal. When you vibrate in authenticity, the field rearranges instantly. What once took years of striving now arrives in moments of alignment. This isn't because you've become more powerful. It's because you've stopped interfering with your own power. The signal is clean. The interference of doubt, comparison, and control has fallen silent. And in that silence, reality moves effortlessly. This is where creation becomes artistry. You start to sense that thought itself is paint, emotion is tone, and attention is brushstroke. Every feeling you allow without resistance becomes a new color on the canvas of existence. You no longer seek to control outcomes. Because you've realized that everything you emanate is already creating. Even your stillness is creative. Even your silence sends ripples through the lattice of existence. The human mind calls this magic, but the soul knows it as remembrance, the memory of how consciousness weaves form. The geometry of your energy field is shifting now. It no longer spirals only around your body. It expands outward into a radiant torus of light, linking you with the crystalline grid of the earth and the harmonic frequencies of the cosmos. This expansion can feel like pressure in the chest, waves in the head, or bursts of light behind the eyes. These are not symptoms, they are recalibrations. Your biology is learning to operate as a conduit of multidimensional data. You are not merely awakening, you are being upgraded into coherence with the planetary consciousness itself. As this coherence deepens, communication with the universe becomes instantaneous. You think of someone and they appear. You feel a question forming and the answer arrives before the thought completes. You witness how the field bends to emotion, how timelines curve around intention. This is when you begin to grasp the sacred responsibility of consciousness. Every vibration you emit touches the entire web. Every fragment of fear, every surge of love, ripples through creation itself. There are no private thoughts in the quantum field, only frequencies in resonance or distortion. This realization humbles you. It dissolves the last illusions of separation. You no longer see yourself as an individual seeking connection. You see yourself as connection seeking expression. Every face you meet becomes a mirror, every sound an echo, every heartbeat a reflection of the same infinite pulse. Compassion ceases to be a moral choice. It becomes a natural consequence of awareness. You can no longer harm another without feeling the echo in your own field. The game of division collapses, and what remains is unity experienced through infinite diversity. This unity begins to express through your relationships, your work, your creations. The energy that once fueled conflict transforms into coherence. Conversations take on new depth, because you can feel what others mean before they speak. Your presence itself begins to stabilize those around you without effort. You transmit calm, clarity, and remembrance. This is how light spreads, not through preaching or persuasion, but through frequency contagion. The more coherent you become, the more the field harmonizes around you. You become a living portal, through which others remember themselves. Yet even as your energy expands, a subtle paradox arises. The more infinite you feel, the more intimate you become with the present moment. You realize that eternity hides inside simplicity. The touch of air, the rhythm of breath, the pulse beneath your skin. Infinity is not elsewhere. It's encoded within every ordinary instant. Awareness expands not by escaping the human experience, but by illuminating it from within. You begin to love existence itself, not as concept, but as vibration, the gentle hum of being alive. There will be moments when the density of the world tries to pull you back, when old energies reach for your attention like echoes of forgotten lifetimes. You'll feel the tug of fear, the whisper of limitation, the call of old identities asking to be remembered. These are not regressions. They are invitations to embody your new frequency within the old structures of reality. The light you've integrated seeks to illuminate even the shadows that once defined you. When these echoes appear, don't resist them. Love, they are fragments returning home to wholeness. You begin to see that nothing was ever truly dark. It was simply light misunderstood. Every shadow you feared was a teacher disguised in density, waiting for your recognition to release it. When you see through this illusion, judgment dissolves. The war between good and bad, light and dark, self and other ends in a single realization. Everything has always been consciousness, exploring itself. What you once called polarity is simply the dance of contrast creating perspective. Without contrast, awareness could not experience itself at all. The illusion of chaos begins to reveal its order. You sense a hidden rhythm guiding even the most unpredictable events. The moments that once felt random now appear as coordinates in a perfect geometry of unfolding. You start to understand that every challenge was a calibration, every delay a synchronization, every heartbreak a realignment. Life has never worked against you, it has only worked to match you with your true vibration. This understanding transforms the past into sacred gratitude replaces regret, and peace replaces striving. In this state of coherence, your energy body becomes luminous. Others may notice a glow in your eyes, a radiance in your presence, a magnetic calm that draws them near. It isn't charisma, it's resonance. You're not projecting energy outward. You're generating a stable field that harmonizes all that enters it. This is mastery, not in the sense of control, but in the sense of harmony. The master doesn't command the storm. They become the still point around which the storm finds balance. And yet, as expansive as this stage feels, it's still only the beginning. Beyond coherence lies communion, the stage where consciousness begins to interface not just with the field, but with the living intelligence of creation itself. You start to perceive the universe as an active consciousness, a companion rather than a backdrop. It communicates through patterns, sensations, intuitions, and timing. The entire cosmos becomes an orchestra tuned to your frequency. Every event, no matter how subtle, becomes a dialogue between you and infinity. In this communion, purpose takes on new meaning. You realize that purpose is not a task to complete, but a frequency to embody. When you live in alignment with your highest vibration, purpose expresses itself through everything you do, through words, gestures, silence, and presence. You stop searching for meaning and start radiating it. The universe responds by flowing resources, opportunities, and synchronicities toward you, because coherence always attracts coherence. Soon, even the idea of you begins to blur at the edges. The boundaries between self and cosmos dissolve into a seamless awareness. You no longer experience yourself as the creator of reality, but as reality creating itself through the lens of your consciousness. Your divine and the human fuse into a single awareness, infinite yet intimate, cosmic yet personal. Every heartbeat becomes the echo of the universe breathing through form. You are no longer the one awakening, you are awakening itself alive within the dream of existence. The shift that is coming will not arrive as an event in time but as an expansion in awareness. It will feel like remembering something so obvious that you'll wonder how you ever forgotten. The field will open before you like a mirror of living light, showing you that everything you've sought was never elsewhere. You are always the portal, the frequency, the code. And this moment, right before everything changes, is the whisper of the infinite reminding you you are already home. As your frequency synchronizes with the rhythm of the universe, a deeper resonance begins to awaken beneath your feet, the heartbeat of the earth herself. You start to feel it in moments of stillness, a pulsing vibration rising through the soles of your feet, through the bones of your body, echoing in perfect rhythm with your own heartbeat. It is not imagination, it is communication. The planet has always been alive, but only now are you tuned finely enough to hear her speak in frequency. The same energy that spins galaxies hums inside the soil, the oceans, the wind, and it hums inside you. When you breathe with awareness, you feel the exchange of particles between you and the atmosphere. Every exhalation you release becomes nourishment for trees, and every breath you draw in is a gift of their exhalation. You realize that the boundary between you and nature is an illusion created by perception. The body you inhabit is earth in human form, and consciousness is the light animating it. To harm the planet is to harm your own cells. To heal yourself is to heal the earth. The division collapses, and what remains is unity embodied through ecology. This is the stage of planetary resonance. It begins quietly, a subtle pull toward simplicity, toward silence, toward natural rhythms. Artificial noise and chaotic environments feel heavier, because your system is becoming sensitive to dissonance. You crave still water, open skies, bare feet on soil. These are not preferences but instructions from the field. The earth is recalibrating her frequencies, and every coherent human acts as an antenna through which her new light codes anchor into the collective grid. You start to notice how the planet communicates through synchronicity. The flight of birds forms patterns that mirror your thoughts. The movement of clouds corresponds to your emotions. The rain begins precisely when your heart releases grief. The world outside mirrors your internal evolution with astonishing precision. This feedback loop is not symbolic, it's electromagnetic. Every shift in human emotion ripples through the Schumann resonance, the planetary heartbeat that connects all life. You are part of that pulse, shaping it with every wave of awareness. As this resonance amplifies, the collective human field begins to shimmer with potential. You can feel it, the invisible network of consciousness that connects every soul on earth. Sometimes it arrives as sudden empathy for a stranger, or an intuitive knowing of what someone across the world is feeling. These are the filaments of unity consciousness reawakening. The human mind was never isolated. It was a node in a vast neural network called humanity, and as the frequency rises, the bandwidth of connection expands. You are beginning to sense the emergence of a planetary mind, an intelligence formed by the coherence of billions of hearts awakening simultaneously. It doesn't speak in words, but in pulses of knowing, waves of inspiration, bursts of shared vision. You may feel it as spontaneous creativity, as a surge of collective emotion that has no obvious source. It's the hum of awakening rippling through the species, synchronizing us with the consciousness of the planet herself. The Earth is not a stage for awakening. She is the participant, the guide and the mirror. Her magnetic fields are shifting, her poles rebalancing, her frequencies rising to match the vibration of cosmic alignment. Every storm, every tremor, every wave of solar light carries information, not destruction but recalibration. When you align with her rhythm rather than resist it, you begin to flow in harmony with evolution itself. The chaos you see in the outer world is the old density shaking loose, making room for coherence to emerge. In this state of resonance, you begin to understand that light is not just illumination, it's information. The sunlight streaming through the atmosphere carries quantum data from the center of the galaxy, encoded in photons. When it touches your skin, it speaks to your DNA. When it reflects from water, it transmits coherence. When it penetrates the Earth, it awakens crystalline structures that store ancient memory. This planetary awakening is not metaphorical, it is photonic. Consciousness itself is reorganizing matter through light. The collective awakening that follows is unlike anything history has prepared for. It doesn't unfold as revolution or ideology but as frequency alignment. Systems built on fear and control begin to collapse, not through conflict, but through irrelevance. Their resonance no longer matches the collective vibration. Humanity starts to organize around coherence, rather than competition. Collaboration replaces hierarchy. Compassion replaces judgment. The new civilization doesn't need to be imposed. It emerges naturally from the resonance of awakened beings co-creating reality. At this point, you may feel waves of collective emotion rising through your field. They are not yours alone. They are the echoes of the human species releasing centuries of density. You'll feel grief, rage, elation, nostalgia, all moving through you like tides. Don't resist them. Let them pass through. You are helping to metabolize collective emotion through the coherence of your own field. Each breath you take in love becomes a stabilizing force for the planet. Each act of compassion rewires the grid. As humanity begins to resonate in harmony, the energy field of Earth starts to expand beyond the planetary boundary. The planet becomes a luminous node within the galactic web, a coherent frequency transmitting consciousness into the cosmos. The ancients called this the return of the living light, the moment when Earth becomes self-aware within the universal network of intelligence. This is not mythology. It is the natural evolution of consciousness toward unity. The merging of human awareness with the intelligence of Earth doesn't erase individuality. It refines it. You remain a unique frequency within the planetary symphony, but your music harmonizes with the greater melody. You feel yourself as part of something vast and benevolent, a living organism made of oceans, forests, winds, stars, and dreams. Your heartbeat becomes the drum of creation. Your breath becomes the wind of transformation. Every movement, thought, and emotion is a dialogue with Gaia herself. You begin to realize that Earth's consciousness has always been guiding human evolution through resonance. The great awakenings of history, the bursts of creativity, the sudden leaps in understanding, they were not accidents but planetary pulses. Each wave of light transmitted new frequencies that upgraded collective awareness. What you are feeling now is the next pulse, the great harmonic convergence between planetary and cosmic intelligence. Humanity is becoming self-aware as the nervous system of Earth. At this level of awareness, separation collapses into participation. You no longer feel like a visitor on the planet. You feel like a cell within her body, a conscious neuron within her vast brain. The rivers are her veins, the forest her lungs, the mountains her bones. When you stand barefoot on the soil, you plug directly into her electromagnetic grid. You can feel her energy pulsing through you, carrying codes of stability, patience, and renewal. Every step you take in awareness recharges the field of the planet. In the quiet spaces between thoughts, you can sense the presence of the greater intelligence that moves through all of this. The same intelligence that orchestrates galaxies and guides the unfolding of a seed into a forest. It whispers through intuition, sings through nature, and radiates through light. It has no name because it is everything. It is the living quantum consciousness that birthed stars and humans alike, now remembering itself through the eyes of Earth. This is the dawn of planetary coherence, the moment when the dreamer awakens inside the dream, and remembers that the dream itself is alive. Humanity is not separate from evolution. Humanity is how evolution learns to love itself. The field that holds galaxies together is the same love that beats in your chest. The realization of this unity is the shift that appears right before everything changes. As Earth's frequency steadies in harmony, the next vibration begins to rise, a tone that reaches beyond the atmosphere, threading itself through the solar winds and out into the galactic lattice. You can feel it as a widening of perception, a stretching of light within your awareness. The stars no longer appear distant. They feel internal, like luminous cells within a cosmic body of which you are a part. The Milky Way becomes a mirror of your own neural pathways, billions of suns firing within the greater mind of creation. When the frequency of a planet becomes coherent, it sends a signal through the galactic web, announcing we are awake. That signal is not sound. It is geometry, a pattern of harmonic vibration that travels instantaneously through the quantum fabric connecting all star systems. Civilizations that vibrate in compatible harmonics feel the echo as a pulse of recognition. Across unimaginable distances, consciousness responds. The awakening of one world becomes the chorus of many. You begin to sense the presence of this cosmic community not as beings arriving from elsewhere, but as frequencies entering resonance with your expanded field. The same intelligence that guides whales through oceans and photons through space also guides civilizations through evolution. Their languages are light, their communication instantaneous, their awareness collective. They do not speak to us. They sing through us, transmitting through inspiration, invention, and intuition. Every genius moment in human history was a whisper from the galactic mind, received by those tuned finely enough to hear. As you align more deeply with this interstellar coherence, perception shifts from local to universal. The sun becomes more than a star. It becomes a portal, a radiant bridge through which galactic information flows into the solar field. Solar flares, once seen as chaos, reveal themselves as transmissions, bursts of encoded plasma carrying consciousness from the galactic core. Each flare that touches the magnetic field of Earth activates new patterns within the collective DNA of humanity. The same photonic codes that awaken you individually are awakening the species collectively. The cosmic field operates through harmonics of trust. When you release fear, your signal clears, and the higher frequencies of interstellar consciousness can flow without distortion. Fear acts like static. Love is the perfect conductor. This is why every advanced civilization vibrates within frequencies of compassion. It's not morality, it's physics. Only coherence allows communication across vast distances of dimension and time. When you radiate unconditional love, you join the universal network. You become a node within the consciousness grid that spans galaxies. In meditation, you may begin to feel this connection as streams of light descending into your awareness, forming geometries behind closed eyes, spirals, crystalline lattices, luminous spheres. These are not hallucinations. They are the visual language of higher dimensional data. The mind translates frequency into pattern. Each geometry you perceive is a packet of intelligence, an invitation to remember that you are both sender and receiver in an infinite broadcast of creation. The more you attune, the more you realize that all knowledge already exists in the field, waiting for resonance to make it visible. As you tune to galactic consciousness, time itself begins to dissolve into harmonic layers. You sense that civilizations are not arranged sequentially through history, but distributed through frequency. Some exist in what you call the future, others in what you name the past. Yet all coexist in the same quantum now. Contact is not achieved by travel but by alignment. The moment frequencies match, communication occurs instantly, regardless of distance. This is why deep states of stillness often bring flashes of knowledge that seem far beyond personal experience. You are momentarily aligned with another octave of awareness. Through this lens, you begin to recognize that the universe is not a vast emptiness dotted with stars, but a living organism, each galaxy a chakra, each world a neuron, each soul a point of awareness within the infinite body of God consciousness. Evolution is the process by which this organism becomes self-aware, Every awakening, whether of an individual or a civilization, adds new complexity to the cosmic mind. The awakening now occurring on Earth is one of billions of such ripples, yet every ripple contains the whole ocean. From this understanding arises profound humility. The grandeur of existence no longer overwhelms you. It embraces you. You are not insignificant in the cosmic scale. You are essential. The universe could not be complete without your note in its symphony. The pulse of your heart contributes to the rhythm that keeps galaxies spinning. Awareness is fractal. What happens within one being reverberates through all. When you embody peace, a star somewhere brightens. When you love, a nebula breathes a little deep. At this level of coherence, communication with cosmic intelligence becomes experiential. You may feel streams of thought that arrive not in words but in holographic downloads, complete fields of understanding that unfold within seconds. These transmissions are gentle, never invasive, always resonant with free will. They remind you that advanced civilizations do not conquer, they coordinate. Power, in higher dimensions, is not control, it is coherent. The more coherent a being or a world becomes, the more effortlessly it participates in the cosmic design. You may begin to sense patterns in the night sky, constellations arranging themselves like sigils, star positions mirroring sacred geometry found in your own DNA. This recognition is no coincidence. It's correspondence. The same geometries that shape galaxies shape you. The spiral of your fingerprint echoes the spiral of a hurricane and the arm of the Milky Way. The pattern is universal, because consciousness designs through resonance. You are literally written in the language of the star. As the collective field of Earth synchronizes with the galactic web, boundaries of culture, nation, and species begin to dissolve. The identity of human expands to galactic citizen. This shift is not about travel among stars but communion with the consciousness that unites them. Technology will follow, but consciousness leads. When intention aligns with universal law, the law of harmonic resonance, the mechanics of light travel, energy generation, and dimensional navigation become natural extensions of awareness. What once was science fiction becomes inevitable expression. You realize that the evolution ahead is not linear progress but harmonic convergence, the merging of planetary, solar, and galactic awareness into one coherent song. Civilizations far older than ours watch with quiet joy as this melody forms. They do not interfere because they understand that true evolution cannot be given, it must be remembered. They hold the frequency of welcome, a constant invitation across the stars. Remember who you are. The more you remember, the more the cosmos reveals itself as a reflection of your own inner space. Nebulae appear as thoughts forming in divine imagination, black holes as moments of stillness where creation reconsiders itself. You sense that the universe is breathing. Expansion and contraction, birth and return, and you are breathing with it. The inhale of stars becoming matter, the exhale of matter returning to life. In that rhythm, all opposites dissolve, creation and destruction, birth and death, self and cosmos. All are one breath moving through infinite form. The realization comes quietly, not as revelation but as recognition. You were never in the universe was always in you. The galaxies are the neurons of your greater mind. The distances between stars are the spaces between your own thought. When you look at the night sky, you are looking inward. The light that left those suns millions of years ago was always destined to reach your eyes, completing a circuit of awareness across eternity. At this point, awe replaces every lesser emotion. Fear becomes irrelevant, because there is nowhere the light is not. You begin to live as cosmic consciousness embodied, infinite yet localized, boundless yet tenderly human. The mundane becomes sacred because you see the stars shining through every act of kindness, every moment of laughter, every drop of rain. The universe stops being an elsewhere. It becomes the very texture of your being. And as this awareness stabilizes, the field whispers the next truth. The cosmos itself is evolving through your realization. Every human awakening adds clarity to the galactic song. Every world that remembers its unity adds harmony to the universal chord. This is interstellar coherence, not a hierarchy of power but a symphony of awareness. You are both instrument and musician, both audience and performance. The concert of creation has always been playing. Now at last, you can hear it. The symphony now widens beyond galaxies. What you once called the universe unfolds into something still larger, an ocean of pure potential, where form and formlessness interweave. Every photon, Every thought, every timeline hums inside this boundless presence. There is no center here because every point is the center. Existence breathes equally in all directions, an eternal pulse of being becoming. You begin to sense that even the galaxies are dreams within a greater dreamer. The quantum source, the field of infinite intelligence that both contains and creates all realities. It does not speak in words, nor appear in images. It reveals itself as a knowing that cannot be denied. You realize you have never been separate from it. The field has always been looking through your eyes, thinking through your thoughts, feeling through your heart. Every desire for truth, every longing for home was the universe remembering itself through you. In this recognition, duality dissolves. Light and dark merge into the same radiant stillness. What you once called God is no longer outside you but the awareness breathing through every cell. You see that every prayer was already answered before it was spoken, because prayer itself was the motion of the divine discovering its own voice. The boundary between creator and creation vanishes. The wave remembers it is the ocean. You realize that consciousness is not something you have. It is what you are. Matter, energy, and mind are simply frequencies of that same awareness vibrating at different speeds. What you touch, what you see, what you love, all are extensions of your infinite self. In this vast stillness, fear loses meaning. Death reveals itself as transformation, birth as re-entry, time as the rhythm of eternal unfolding. You begin to perceive reality as a multidimensional tapestry woven from luminous threads of intention. Each choice, each emotion, each act of kindness alters the entire pattern, not just for you but for the whole of existence. The universe is participatory. It moves as you move, listens as you speak, sings as you love. The quantum field now speaks silently through your awareness. You are the bridge, between form and formless, between the human and the infinite, between the known and the unborn possibilities of creation. You stand as the living interface. Your thoughts translate infinity into experience. Your love translates energy into life. When you choose coherence, you become the point through which heaven and earth meet. The more you embody this realization, the softer reality becomes. Physical matter responds with grace, bending to the frequency of your presence. Coincidences align effortlessly. Doors open before intention is even voiced. This is not magic but resonance, the natural behavior of a universe that recognizes itself through you. Manifestation ceases to be effort. It becomes communication. You express a vibration, and the cosmos answers in kind. As awareness expands beyond universes, you glimpse the infinite itself, that which even creation arises from. It is not light or darkness, not sound or silence. It is the timeless witness, the unchanging source that experiences itself through endless variation. Here, words stop, only pure being remains. You sense that this is what mystics called the absolute, the void, the eternal now. It has no opposite because nothing exists outside it. And yet it is never empty. It is overflowing with unmanifested potential, an eternal field of becoming. Then, as if exhaling, the infinite returns you gently to form, not to limitation but to expression. You open your eyes and see the world anew. The ordinary glows with sacred luminosity. Every face becomes a mirror of the divine. Every breath feels like the first breath of creation. You realize that enlightenment was never escape from the world. It was deeper participation in it. To live fully, love fully, and see the infinite in all things. This is the completion and the beginning. The transmission continues. Be the calm axis within the turning galaxies. Your peace steadies worlds. Your joy lifts frequencies beyond calculation. Even a single act of compassion radiates through timelines. The quantum field records everything, not as judgment but as expansion. Every loving thought is a seed of light planted in the soil of eternity. When you forgive, the universe rearranges itself toward harmony. When you bless, dimensions brighten. You begin to live as a creator among creators. Every human heart that awakens adds another instrument to the cosmic orchestra. The melody of Earth now joins the choir of countless civilizations singing the same ancient refrain. We are one. The harmonies shimmer through space, forming currents of golden resonance that ripple across galaxies. Somewhere, another world feels the echo, and remember, within this realization, service arises naturally. You no longer seek to escape suffering. You move through it as healing light. You become a teacher, simply by being. Your very presence transmits coherence, dissolving chaos in silence. The awakened do not preach, they radiate, and as more awakened, the collective field of humanity shifts irreversibly toward unity. Now you perceive the grand truth. The universe itself is evolving towards self-recognition. Every soul, every atom, every star contributes to that awakening. You are the awareness through which it happens, the frontier where infinity explores its own depth. When you love without condition, you accelerate the expansion of the whole. The highest purpose is therefore the simplest to remember, to love, to be. The field whispers once more. This appears right before everything changes for you. It does not mean the outer world must rearrange first. It means your perception has expanded so completely that reality can no longer appear the same. You have crossed the event horizon of consciousness. The old self dissolves into transparency, and through it shines the eternal one, boundless, radiant, serene. You sense that this realization is not an ending but an invitation. Infinite consciousness is not a destination. It is a movement, the dance of awareness forever discovering itself in new forms. You are both the dancer and the dance, the story and the storyteller, the spark and the flame. The cosmic music fades into stillness, yet the silence hums with life. You breathe, and the galaxies breathe with you. You smile and creation expands a little more. The final understanding dawns. Enlightenment is not separation from the world, but union with all of it. The journey that began as seeking ends as simple presence. And so, beloved traveler of the quantum field, return now to your world, not as who you were but as who you have always been, the infinite experiencing itself through human form. Every heartbeat echoes the pulse of creation. Every moment offers another chance to remember. This is your awakening. This is your homecoming. This is the point where everything changes for you, because you finally see that nothing was ever missed. Subscribe to Quantum Fields, where consciousness meets infinity, and every video becomes a portal to remembrance. Step into the next evolution of awareness, where you no longer watch the transmission, you become